I want to just share one last story before we tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Okay.
So I'm looking at your Instagram one day, and I see a picture of you with The Rock.
Yeah. The man. The goat.
The goat. And I say to my wife, I said, Laura, you're not going to believe this. Then I show her the picture of you with The Rock, and she's like, get out of here. I said, I need to know what happened. Tell me what happened.
So I was out in Vegas. This is a crazy story. I was out in Vegas for Mr. Olympia, the expo. And it was a Saturday. And it was the last day of the expo, and I didn't go. I don't know. I just was hanging around. I was like, I'm not going to go to the expo. And we were, hanging around, and I said, you guys want to go just mess around in the gym? Like, let's go get a quick lift in. I had a couple buddies that I was staying with, and we went to one of the more well-known gyms that where, everyone films at, everyone goes. And I go in there, and my buddy immediately comes up to me. He's like, hey, it's real low-key. Like, no one really knows, but The Rock's up there lifting. And I laughed, and I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, he's up there, man. I was like, am I still allowed to lift? I'm trying to get my lift in. I was still I was on prep for my competition.
So you were more concerned with that,
yeah.
Even though you're a big fan.
Yeah, so I was on prep for my competition, and I was with about four other people, and I was going up the steps, and there was 3 security guards to the right of the steps, and The Rock was doing dips behind them in a hoodie, very like just covered up, and I was like, oh my God, that really is The Rock. And I told my buddies, I said, listen, I said, not only does this guy already know who I am, I said, but we don't need to go up to him. I said, if he's the way he presents himself, he'll come up to me. We won't need to bother this guy. Like, I don't want to bother him.
And you say that because he's tweeted stuff out about you before.
Yes.
I've seen him do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, we don't need to be, all up on this guy's stuff. And so we didn't. And we went, I was in prep. I took my shirt off. I started my lift, and he was all over, doing different workouts. And at one point, he was right next to me, like doing bicep curls, right? Like, just staring in the mirror. And, I didn't acknowledge him at all. I wasn't staring at him. I wasn't doing anything. I was motivating my buddies. We were lifting. And then he went over into a corner, and he took his headphones off, and people were like, oh, and they ran over to him. And, he started taking pictures with people. And my buddy was like, yo, I'll just go up there, like, just see what's going on. And I was like, yeah, go ahead, whatever. And he came back. He's like, yeah, he already wants to talk to you. He's like, the security guard, like, they're going to escort you. He wants to talk to you personally. And I was like, I told you, like, we don't got to bother this guy, man. We really don't. So he finished his lift. I finished mine, and they brought me over, and I have it all filmed, the interaction. And he's like, what's up, man? He's like, I'm a big fan. He's like, I just want to, thank you for everything you do. And we got to talking. And, he asked me for a picture first, which was pretty crazy for me. Yeah. He's like, can I get a picture of you, man, please? I was like, yeah. But I told him, the one thing that I told him, and it really, I'll never forget it. I said, I tell everyone I'm going to do what you did. And the meaning behind that is everyone knew you for wrestling, WWE, and college football, right? And then you just branched down to acting and everything, and you just, blew up. You just crushed everything. I was like, I'm going to do that.
That's how you started wrestling.
Yes. And I was like, I'm going to branch out into all these things. And I told him about my book and how, it was about confidence and implementing into these in all the industries. And he said, you know what? And I said, what's up? He's like, you're exactly right. He's like, you're like me. He said, whatever industry they put you in, you will adapt and crush it. And that's what we do. And we kind of ended off like that. We, dabbed him up. He's like, thank you so much, and it was crazy because, neither of us were, that's The Rock, people like, freak out when they meet him. It was very organic, very real, because like, it was an instant sense of, respect. Like, he respected what I did, and we were mutual fans. Right. And it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I remember them taking down my Instagram info, and I was like, man, if he posts me, that'd be huge. The Rock's, I think, the second most or the third most followed person on Instagram in the world. Yeah. So, and then, I was like, he knows what my show is. I was like, maybe he'll post me on my show. I was 5 minutes from stepping out the first ever time for prejudging, and he posted me. Wow. And my boy was like, yo, look at the phone. And I was on The Rock's page, and that picture of me and The Rock is, I think, the most liked picture he's ever gotten.
It's amazing. It's one of the most picture. And there's a video of it likes. Too, right?
Yes, I posted a video of me and him hitting the most muscular, a little most muscular pose. But I also have in my phone, I have the full interaction of me and him. But
somebody wrote a
Amazing.
story, the inspirational moment when The Rock meets Nick Santonastasso.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a really, really cool little story that they had written about that.